Ohio State 1-0, and now with one game for us to talk about in the Horseshoe Lounge at Roosters, which is a fun, casual joint. The team back together. Justin Zwick, Bobby Carpenter, and Nicole Cox is back. The notebook is full over here.
It is.
We're ready to dive in.
I loved it.
Ohio State wins 23-3, a conference road win to start the year, Bob.
Yeah, I mean, that's more than Clemson can say.
Sure is.
You know, I mean, and the best part about going 1-0 is a chance to go 2-0.
I've heard that.
It was a less, I don't want to call it a sleepy win. It really wasn't a high degree of anxiety. We've come to expect an offense that is so incredibly prolific that we want to see a touchdown in like 15 seconds every time we get the ball. Like literally 13 yards, 12 yards, 30 yards, 10 yards, touchdown, 1 minute off the clock, defense go get a stop. We want to have 28 points up before the middle of the second quarter. In Indiana, when you have a defensive coordinator who was on the staff last year, who understands what you're doing defensively, who knows a pretty good amount about the offense too, and you're breaking in a new quarterback, 3 new offensive linemen, there's a lot of things going on. You're trying to figure out, like, you won by 20 points. Now, would you have rather won 45-25 than 23-3? I mean, like, that's literally the question you have to ask yourself. It's still a 20-point margin of victory. And you left a handful of plays out there where it could have very easily been 35, 38, and then it's 38-3, and okay, it feels maybe a little better than what it did.
I feel like even if those plays, certain plays would have gone the way we wanted to, people would still be mad.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean, it just is what it is. Nobody was going to be happy coming out of that game unless, even if Kyle did go out and just was money, 100% completion, 500 yards, I think someone would still find something to complain about. But
we need to send a reminder to everyone. Remember, it's the first game. The first game always looks like this. It's always fresh. It's always, I mean, because I think people just in their minds get their standards set too high, and then.
When speaking of that, I saw something like
something about the standards.
Yes,
the standard is the standard. But when you look back to your point, I think CJ's first game in Minnesota was very similar statistically.
100%.
As
with
this
the
game
benefit
was.
also of a 70-yard screen pass.
Yeah,
he
threw for almost 300 yards, but 70 of those came on one.
I'm just saying. So I mean, like, let's just pump the brakes a little bit. I thought Kyle looked much better in the second half once he was able, once he knew he was going to be the guy going in. I think he settled down and he played pretty well. He threw some really nice balls. Of course, every quarterback wants to have a few back, and there are a few out there that didn't look great, but
maybe he might want to scramble back more.
That's one of the plays. Yes, one of the plays. That scramble, he definitely went back. Maybe the more athletic Devin would have made that one for us. I don't know.
So Nicole, you were not concerned because you expected some week 1 growing pains.
100%, guys. I mean, I feel like it's a courtesy to give them that. You just have to get into the swing of things, and we were talking about that the last show. Just getting the repetitions, getting used to playing. You know, the commentators were even talking about that this was probably a great game for them to come to. One, they said they thought there might be more OSU fans there than Indiana fans, which is awesome. But that it wasn't as loud in there, and it was a good place for Kyle to get started. And you could see, I mean, I was thinking about Brock Purdy from the 49ers, like how do you go in behind someone that was great and just turn the jitters off and just do a perfect job? You know, it's almost impossible. So I don't know. I think it was everything I expected it to be, and which makes the whole season more exciting to watch these kids grow. In my opinion, I know no one else agrees with that, but
there's a lot of room to grow. That's the nice thing.
Grower versus shower. More growing available now.
Yeah, there is more growing available throughout the season, and I think that's what we're going to see. I was expecting maybe to run the ball a little bit better. Now I don't know if that's just Indiana threw a lot of guys into the box there, trying to confuse our guys. It seemed like they did a good job of confusing, and maybe not knowing exactly who had what block, in some big situations. But I also think Ryan likes to for whatever reason, he likes to put his teams in bad situations early in games, and I feel like this is challenging situations, just to see how they react. Like, he feels good that we're going to get this win. All right, let's go throw some things at them, see how they react to it. And it can be good, but also when you have, how many 3 and outs or third downs did we not get? We were, 3 of 12 or something along those lines?
It was bad.
That 7 of those were, 3rd and 5 or shorter. That's the tough thing.
That's what's really hard is the fact that they were very manageable third downs.
Well, yeah, it wasn't like 3rd and 12. You're trying to pick something up
So
big. But.
we were doing a pretty good job on 1st and 2nd down, putting them in good situations. Offensive line, I thought, when they were blocking their guys, did a good job. It was just the free runners. And so that, to me, is a very correctable problem. You get in there, you get on the film, hey, we have to get up there. And Donovan Jackson is one of the best offensive linemen in college football. I mean, I've heard a lot of people tell me he's a first, possibly second, but probably first-round guard. That was not his best game. He did not come off. Him and Hinsman, you're trying to work these combo blocks. Their linebackers are shooting fast. And it wasn't the fact that they were getting blown up or couldn't do it. They just literally weren't coming up.
Yeah.
And so that's a very correctable. It would have been more concerning, which I've seen in the past, where you're not getting any push or you're getting guys that are just getting outwardly beat up front. And that's a physical thing. And now it's like, okay, we've got to work on this, and that's going to take some time. So you had that going on the third, a lot of the 3rd and shorts, which was a little bit concerning. They ran a lot of different personnel groupings. They ran some 2-back, 1 tight end, 2 tight ends. I think they had 3 or 4 tight ends on the field one time. And so trying to figure out with Ryan, like developing that rhythm of play calling while also using all these personnel groups. The 1 touchdown drive with Mayan, Trey runs the ball, Chip runs the ball, Chip stays in, blocks for Mayan, touchdown. It's like 3 different guys in a row.
Chip's out there coming at him like a spider monkey.
Oh, he is.
He is, man.
And, he played really well. And I thought, so I thought they ran the ball at times really good, looked good. And then there was some times like, hey, got to block that guy. He's in the backfield.
Guy's trying to make a lot of money off this game, and he's doing a good job.
He did a great job.
Yeah.
So, and then you obviously look to, I think there was a couple drops where Kyle put the ball, like his pass to Carnell Tate was a great ball. Mm-hmm. Apparently, they don't call targeting.
Yeah, not if it's against Ohio State.
Against Ohio State, some hit him with a helmet, face mask right there in front of everybody. No, but instead we're going to try to throw on Igben Newsom, who's like laying on the ground, putting his head to the side.
Putting his shoulder into somebody.
And I'm like, what are we doing? So
mind-blowing.
There were some things that like a couple of different breaks here or there, and I think it's a different conversation, especially you complete one of those big balls, and Justin can talk about it. Like, you finally push it, you get a completion, you get some confidence, like, all right, let's go, let's on the ball, and let's get it rolling. I felt like there was just a hesitancy for those guys to let it go down the field, and really for Kyle. And some of that's maybe like, I don't want to throw an interception, which his 4th down interception, which people yell at and go crazy. I go, the worst thing you can do on 4th down is take a sack. You know why? Because they get the ball back anyway.
No matter what happens there.
Throw it.
Yeah. And there was somebody there. I mean, he may have been able to get to the sideline and stretch out for it, but, I mean, the other team's getting the ball if you don't get across that line.
It's really
that's not a big deal to me.
The play was really a one-receiver route.
Yes.
And Chip gets picked off.
Down,
I mean, it's just bad luck. So it's like, okay, now try to make a play. And the 2 tight ends got kind of jammed up over the middle.
Yeah, they're kind of in the same area. And it's like, well, as soon as you see it, you're like, don't throw late across the middle. And you're like, well, that's 4th down.
Fourth down.
His main receiver, who the play was called for, fell down. I think he's trying to make something happen. So I don't put too much stock into that.
So let me ask you it this way. How much did your...
Wouldn't you agree?
Would you say, Bob, Jay-Z, and Nicole, that how did you feel on Saturday, which I would imagine it's fair to feel some frustration at points in that game, but it was still a 20-point road win. We talked about that it may be wonky in week 1. But then you get into, all right, the next day, thinking about the context or rewatching the film, however you did it, and then or watching Clemson lose to Duke. Like, did the way you view the opener change much from Saturday to, let's say, right now?
I think when you digest it all together and you see, I'll call them the surprise doubles. When someone orders you a drink and you're like, oh, wow, this is a lot stronger.
Heavy pour?
Surprise double. Like, Clemson got that surprise double from Duke. They didn't know it was about to happen.
Yeah.
LSU got a surprise double shot. TCU got a surprise double shot. They didn't realize, oh, gosh, this is a lot stronger than I thought it should be. So when you look at it in context, you won the game. You played an opponent that had all offseason to prepare. They had intimate knowledge of what you did.
The Indiana triple option was a little bit of a double shot.
No one expected that. And I'm going to be honest, like, and people are like, well, they should you prepare for everything? My bad.
Yeah, exactly,
Your human brain.
Let's pick out every offense that's ever been made and go against that for a period.
They ran a triple out of the spread. And by the way, they knew how our defense would play and do some things. And that's why you saw in the second, like after a couple of series, screw it, just play man. We're better than they are. We're just going to man up and let our guys go make plays. Because what they're doing now is they're taking advantage because they know exactly when they do this and they pin and pull and do how we're going to fit it. So just forget about it. Yeah. Go be dudes, go play. And I mean, with 153 yards?
Yeah.
And that was them trying to figure some things out. You should feel very confident about this defense and what they're ultimately able to do.
Yeah, I think they had the lowest amount of yards given up over
a
the
long
weekend.
time,
I think.
yeah.
I mean, you love seeing that. It doesn't change anything for me watching. It just makes me laugh seeing these teams go out and not handle their business in the first week. We played a Big Ten opponent on the road. This was their season. They're supposed to win 2 or 3 games.
Yeah.
They come out and shock the world against Ohio State. I think they had much more to get up for than we did. I think our deficiencies are our offensive line. It didn't play great. Didn't feel like it played great. That's probably the one thing I took away from the game. We won the game. I didn't ever feel worried about it. I thought they might be a little further along going against our defensive line and linebackers through camp. Mm-hmm. I thought it'd be a better chance to prepare them to go against an Indiana front.
Yeah.
But they'll get it together. I mean, like Bob was talking, you're going to be able to watch that film. You're going to be able to get these guys, all right, this should have been your guy. You go here, you team to there. They figured that stuff out.
They were but I felt like they were physically prepared as far as there was no dude.
100%, yeah.
You didn't watch
just
Josh Simmons, someone
getting
long arm
bent backwards.
take Matt Roth, take Josh Simmons and dump him on top of Kyle McCoy.
100%. Yeah, I didn't feel that way at all. It's just need to clean things up, I guess. Is more of
correctable stuff. It's not like, hey, these guys can't physically do it, or who are we going to put in there? Dude, what are we
oh my
doing?
gosh, this is all we have. No, we just got to figure out. So I think there's a lot of room to grow, and I think these first 3 games are a great way to do it.
How did you feel, Nicole?
Well,
did you take a couple of Xanaxes to take the edge off of the game? I know we get so worried there.
Nope. I didn't watch the game on Saturday because we were driving to Cleveland, and I loved that I didn't watch the game because I was just listening to what everybody had to say about it. And then in my mind, I was like, gosh, did we look terrible? Like, what's wrong? And then I watched it. I was like, this is fine. This is fine. Like, it's...
It was fine. It wasn't great. It was fine, though.
So they set the standards in my mind that we played terrible because they just had their standards too high. I mean, it's the first game. I think that's what football is. Everybody kind of needs to get their bearings, and it was Kyle's first game. Buckeye Leaf-wise, obviously, I'm giving one to Kyle.
All right,
but I've got 2 people. Two people.
You're starting the segment, so you can do whatever you want.
Okay,
This
thanks.
is your show.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
But Kyle gets one just for going out there. I just give anybody so much respect for that. I can't even imagine the pressure. I just can't. And I understand, Justin, what you were saying now about needing to pick one so they have the confidence, because you could see his confidence grow as the game went on. And then I was really impressed with the defense as well. You're
going to schlag it up and give it to the entire defense?
No. As I was watching, I was going back through Sonny Styles. I was just first time, because I don't go to all the practices and know the entire roster. Just hearing his name, and I felt like I heard it quite a few times, and then to hear a little background on him, and I was just really impressed. He was there. He was there where he was supposed to be, and he's versatile. He's a hybrid player. He can play different positions. I think that is the key. I think people like that are just the best.
You've seen the graph of where he lined up everywhere on Saturday. I think it was all over the defensive side of the ball. It was nuts.
Yeah, he not in the middle of the field. That's why I wondered if it was really that different from a normal game. If you're flipping strong and weak side of the formation. I was going to ask you guys about that because I saw the graphic and I'm like, that doesn't seem like actually all over the place because he's not in the linebacker.
Fair, it's just on each side, and it's depending on formationally
where he
line
needs.
up.
I think it made it look like a crazy thing.
Yeah,
than
fair
it really
enough.
was.
But he was all over the place on Saturday.
Once they started, when they ran the end around, and he's starting on the other side of the field and
he meets him over there.
Identifying and making the play.
Well, here's an important note when I see that, and I'm watching that play. The running back obviously is going to the left. That's where he is. The end around comes back around on it. And, Tommy and Steele, they got in a lot of man to help deal with the option because it's the simplest thing. You got this guy, you got that guy, go attack your dudes. And so the running backs are locked on the linebackers are locked on the running back. And so that's their job. Sonny has the slot man. And so you see him go back around. And honestly, it was great to see him do that because they call it eye control and eye discipline. His job is to look at that guy and really nothing else. You're going to be a late ad in the run. And he could have very easily got drawn in on the run, which is what they probably thought would happen. He's a young player. But no, he does exactly what he's supposed to do. Yeah. He crosses past the linebackers who are doing what they're supposed to do. Tommy picks it up late. But knowing, okay, Steele's going to take the back then. In case they hand it off, they can throw it still. There's a lot of things that could have happened. But everybody did their job. And that's what, to me, was very exciting, especially for a young guy who we hype up, who is, this great playmaker. And sometimes, you try to do too much instead of just doing what you're supposed to do. Yep. And in doing what you're supposed to do, you'll make plays.
It's
Well, you said
keeping
you
it
had
simple.
Yeah, you had 3, right?
No, just 2.
Oh, okay.
Just 2. But I mean, I don't know. I'm just excited football's back. It was so fun just to sit there and like, okay, we're back to this.
Yeah. Thank goodness it's back. Jay-Z, Buckeye Leaf.
My Buckeye Leaf is going to Kate Stover.
Aid Stover.
I think every
Career
young
high 98 yards.
I mean, I think every quarterback, but especially young quarterbacks, for whatever reason, always just go to that tight end. You know, he's the one in the middle of the field. He's usually bigger. You feel a little bit better about him boxing somebody out if you need to, or going up and making a play for you to knock it down if you need to. But you know, to see that they have that kind of relationship, trust in each other already, I think that's big. And you know, to have that playmaker there in the middle with all the other athletes you have, they're going to have to take away somebody, and that's going to leave somebody open. So, I mean, I think that's a big game for a tight end, but I think that's a good start for him this season.
Bob?
I'm going to give mine to Chip. You know, I thought Chip was probably the most productive running back that we had, and I love
And fullback.
And that's my point. I love the fact it's like, hey, I'll carry the ball, but when you want me to go block, just to give defenses a different look, and now we can get in some different stuff and do some really unique and cool things. But it may be you doing like a little bit less because you have the body type that can handle that, so you might not be the star of all the time. And like Chip's just an awesome human being. So Ohio guy came back, and like to watch him bust off that long run, then go block for Mayan and be super excited about it, like that to me shows, like, people talk about culture, like dude that runs down there and like, you got to give it to Chip now, and you see Mayan come in, I'm like, all right, well, he's going to block for his dude and be happy about the fact that we scored, as opposed to being salty the fact that he didn't score.
I agree with you on that, Bobby. I love a player like that. I love, love, love that.
Bob's playing the hits to try and
You're right.
get your
because
heartstrings over
it's a
it.
team effort. It's a team effort. Everybody needs to be doing their job, you know? And so, I don't know. I just have a really good feeling about this season.
I like it. Well, you know why you have a good feeling? Because not only is it today Appetizer 3's Day, which
It
the Threes
is.
appetizer,
I keep forgetting it's Tuesday.
yeah,
You didn't get you some.
despite some potential issues and conflicts, the appetizer of the day is
rises to the occasion.
mac and cheese
Mac
bites.
and cheese
It
bites.
is.
It's Berm's favorite. It's Schleg's favorite. It's delicious. Berm puts the hot sauce on it. You do whatever you want. It's $3 all day long at Roosters, and we have the Roosters Bowl Trip giveaway.
The giveaway.
And so here's the best part. 12 games, 12 winners, 4-2, airfare, 2 tickets.
Deluxe accommodation.
Deluxe
accommodations.
Hotel accommodations. You can go to roosterswings.com to sign up, or if you come in here, you just scan the QR code and
Zoom
bam,
in on it.
right there. And they're going to have a winner every week. Like I said, 12 games,
So there
12
must
winners.
already be one. It's a Tuesday.
yeah.
Yes,
And
there
Was
is.
there can you tell how many people sign up? I mean, was the number the
Last
numbers
week there
were
were
good?
7 million. So
Yes.
congratulations to
Let's
winner number 1.
go.
There's 7 million entries.
Jeez.
Every week is a new
Love
chance to win, though. That's the greatest part. It's not like it builds up. Every week is a clean slate. So,
So register every week.
yeah, every day.
You can
Every
only
week.
win once, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Well, no, I believe you can win twice. You can.
Really?
Yep. We're those people.
mean,
Or 12 times.
If you pull it off twice
A lot
out
of
of
family
once in
members.
7 million, like just go
now
play
that
the
hasn't
lottery.
happened. That has not happened yet. But I did pull 2 of the same name one year, which was really confusing. You know, like on the
two
trip.
different people.
Yeah.
Like 2 John Smiths.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Basically, it was awesome.
And
That's
then
great.
It turns out they were actually like twins separated at birth.
That is so
What a
amazing.
story.
And Nicole put them together. It
Man, Nicole, you just bringing people
She's
together.
always-
What a person.
was always making things happen.
Man.
It's great to have Nicole Cox back into the Horseshoe Lounge with us. Anything else that you have in the notebook that you need to unload before you go back to
Are
work?
we doing our score predictions?
Do you want to? It's Youngstown State. I don't know if that was really necessary.
Well, guys, I've got a certain feeling towards Youngstown State.
Tell me about it.
Well, you know Eric that we work with. That's
Yeah.
always helping
Oh,
us
yeah,
out
his
with the
dad is
chips.
up there, yeah.
Eric
Chip
with the
King.
chips.
His
Chip King.
his uncle's the coach.
Yes.
So we asked him. We were together this weekend, and we asked him, "What are you gonna do if you guys win?" And I mean, just speechless. He's like, "I don't know. I don't think we've talked about it." So, but I think it's another situation where I think everybody's standards are going to be extremely high, and so I think the score is going to be like 53-14 Ohio State. Did I say that the right way, Justin?
Yes,
this
you
time?
did.
Just checking. Just
If
making
you
sure.
want Ohio State to win.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's all.
Ohio State is going to win, but I definitely think Youngstown State's still going to score.
Okay, 53-14. Mm-hmm. Anything else going on?
No, just the bowl trip giveaway, which is exciting. I love that football's
Oh,
back.
And get down to Roosters and watch some of the U.S. Open. I mean, that's fantastic. Not only is there football, they got U.S. Open on, too.
I know.
We got a lot of Americans playing for the first time in a while.
And if you're having problems at home getting ESPN,
Yeah, come to Roosters.
come to Roosters.
Apparently
That's
there was
the only
something about
solution. Yeah, which I am a Spectrum customer, so now I live at Roosters. I brought a cot into the back.
I love it.
So I can watch all the games. All right, we are going to take a break. We're going to talk a lot more about Ohio State's opener and getting ready for week 2 and the quarterbacks when Berm jumps in. Say goodbye to Nicole Cox for now. She'll be back next week. And the show will be back in just a second at Roosters, which is a fun, casual joint.
Roosters has been so fortunate. We just want to be able to give some of that back to the community.
They donate to organizations that are near and dear to their heart, and we're so fortunate to have been with Roosters now for a long time.
They will always go above and beyond to help support our foundation to further help veterans.
It's just a wonderful feeling to know that Roosters supports the Buckeye Cruise for Cancer.
All the folks at Roosters are just genuinely kind folks, and they want to make a difference.
Thank you, Roosters Foundation.
Thank you, Roosters.
Thank you, Roosters.
Thank you, Roosters Foundation.
Welcome back into the Horseshoe Lounge at Roosters, a fun, casual joint. Berm has arrived. He's here.
Berm.
Berm, what
My
are your
ego
thoughts?
has landed.
I've been here the whole time.
You have been?
Yeah. I was over there eating
What?
wings.
Oh,
and
that's why you're
I
sweating.
want to be clear about
sweating?
something.
I was gonna
No,
say, is there-
that's not why I'm sweating. It's because the air conditioning is not working. in
It
this
feels
room.
great in here.
Just in the back.
Not in this
It's so
room.
nice in here.
And then you combine that with the nuclear on the wings, and I don't.
I mean,
Well,
it's
normally-
coming out of the
Yeah,
eyes.
yeah,
though.
it's hot in
That's-
here.
That's
It's hot.
Those are
Typically
tears.
does.
I'm not.
This is sweat up here.
I'm not
This is
one of these
tears.
people who likes hot weather. I want.
You lived in Arizona.
I know, but it's okay.
Berm
Did
lived
you-
in
You
Arizona.
what? He was where?
I want
That's the
58.
first I've
I
heard
want
of that.
58 and sunny with no wind, and it's the perfect.
Moving
weather
to
for me.
Phoenix was a good idea for that.
You
Milk
do.
was a bad choice.
You do what you got to do.
It's a dry heat. It feels like 60.
You adapt to it, but I prefer like 58 and sunny.
So you're prepared for the fall.
Yeah, I love the fall.
Okay.
Last week's weather, pre-Indiana, was great. Where it
yeah.
felt like fall had arrived. And
Then it got hot again.
How hot was
Berm
it
and I
over
got
there?
and like we had to carry in all the equipment, a mile in the parking lot from the media lot into
Oh,
there.
yeah.
And Berm's shirt was in trouble.
By the
and
time we
mine
got
was
into it,
well on
yeah.
the way to being in big trouble.
And then on the field, it's 115 degrees on the field. Like,
Yeah.
it was pretty rough
Hot down there,
on
huh?
Saturday.
If you get on the home side and get in the shade over there, it's
I don't go on the home side.
get some good shots from that side.
Nah.
Yeah, the car ride back to the hotel
Might have had a funk.
Was it a stinky one?
funky.
Might have had some
Let's
funk.
get funky. Berm, who was your Buckeye leaf for?
Two things. Denzel Burke didn't get thrown out a lot.
Played well, though.
But played really well, and it's good to see a guy who we heard a lot of stuff about all offseason and then have it show up on the field immediately as it did on Saturday. We heard a lot of things about a lot of other guys during the offseason that maybe you're like, okay, I didn't see it on Saturday, however, and that was not the case for Denzel. And I'm sure this will draw the ire of people, but I think Kyle McCord gets my the kid has done nothing to piss off everyone in Ohio State fandom, and
Well,
yet
he's not CJ, so
right. But everyone wanted to
Or
bench
Justin.
CJ for Kyle 2 years ago.
'cause he couldn't run. They called running plays. He tried to run. I mean, he got him close on the third down, and then we chose not to block a linebacker.
Yeah,
I mean,
He scrambled well on a 2nd and 10, got him into a
Scramble
situation,
was big.
3rd
He
and 3.
extended the play on that nice throw to Emeka.
Oh,
Like,
gosh. Yeah, I thought he did it.
extended the
Hey,
play on the 3rd and 8 completion.
100% did
to
enough in the
or
pocket.
to train him. Like I thought that Kyle's results are you're gonna look at it and be like, it's not what you expect from the Ohio State quarterback, and I totally understand that. But it is a guy making ostensibly his first start. It's on the road. It's in the Big Ten, and I think just from the perspective of how much, no matter how hard you try to avoid it, no matter how much you try to not look at social media, these are 21-year-old kids, and the ruthless nature of the fan base in the last month has been just disgusting at times. And the fact that he just went out there, did his job, got the win, wasn't perfect, didn't expect him to be perfect, but I still think that he deserves some credit for just standing in there. I wish we would have had a chance to talk to him after the game. I mean, we did after a little bit. I'd like to see – I always want to see the quarterback at the podium. I just don't think that having him in the scrum afterwards is right. But
that's the way Indiana has always been. Fortunately.
Well, it's not great.
They don't have a podium like media room. They
have-
just built that whole.
They actually have. So like the room where Ryan Day is at Indiana is one of the best road post-game press conference rooms that there is in the Big Ten, which is a very low bar. Like one place that we're going to go this year, Purdue, you are literally in a closet, and 5 feet away the last time we were there, Jeff Hireman was changing clothes. So
It's good.
people
Getting a
had to
little preview.
divert.
Do you take Berm's camera away before you do something like that?
Take some dong pics.
The Purdue setup, one of the photographers had all of
Ryan,
the
can you
stuff
move out of the
stolen.
way, please?
Excuse me.
Because the photographer workroom at Purdue is essentially another closet, and it's right off of the main concourse of the stadium. And one of the photographers had like $25,000 worth of stuff just stolen.
Yeah,
I'm
so
sure Purdue reimbursed them.
Certainly did not.
100%.
But that room is on the other side of the end zone from Ohio State's locker room at Indiana. So they don't bring a player over with Ryan Day. So they've
Because
never
the hostile environment, they're afraid
so
they
hot.
might get.
Well, there's a tunnel
Yeah.
that connects them. So like
Watch out for these guys.
conceivably they could, but then it's a lot of moving parts, and Mike Bassford and Jerry Emick don't want to let people go straight from the locker room to the bus, which would be the easiest route for them. So they bring them right outside the locker room, and that's the easiest way to ensure that you can get 5 to 6 players, and Kyle McCord was one of them.
Yeah, bottom line, I think that for everything that could have happened on Saturday, I don't think Kyle was any part of the real problem on Saturday. I think the play calling was extremely conservative and didn't really allow the offense to try to be explosive. I think the offensive line had some major issues just blocking people. And as you talked about, like, it wasn't a situation where they're being out physical. They just didn't know where they were supposed to go. And some of that is obviously on Justin Fry and the offensive line coaches not having them prepared. Some of that is on Matt Guerrieri and Tom Allen doing a good job and changing things up. So, bottom line, I don't think Kyle McCord was the problem with the offense on Saturday.
All right, so what does that mean for Ohio State moving forward? Or what would you guys like to see? Either way you want to tackle that. Ryan Day spoke on Tuesday before we came over here to Roosters for Appetizer Tuesday. Said Kyle McCord is going to start again. Still would like to see Devin Brown play. I think a week ago there may have been some belief competition is ongoing. Maybe that means that they're going to play 50% 50% snaps.
Wouldn't you agree that he led you to believe that, though, Austin?
Well, he never said that, right? I think people would.
But wouldn't you agree?
I don't agree.
Okay.
I didn't think that, and especially when he said afterwards, maybe we were going to get him around the 3rd and in the 6th. Like, if that was the math, they were always anticipating 2/3 going to Kyle McCord.
Yeah.
And if that's the case again, it's going to be easier to get that against Youngstown State if that's what you really want.
I think part of the problem, too, is then he throws the pick on the 3rd series.
And comes out.
And you're like, do we bring him out now? Like, there was just so much.
Because it directly contradicts what he said 3 days earlier, which is, I want to make sure he knows if he makes a mistake, he's not going to be yanked out of the game.
But I think it was probably his plan anyway. But you're like, now it's just
It looks worse, yes.
very bad timing.
Yeah. We had already talked to them about this, but it just looks worse because he threw that.
Yeah, and that's like that's why the quarterback deal is very managing this thing. I mean, it's like tightroping across the Grand Canyon. There's a lot of wind, there's a lot of movement trying to figure this thing out, and there's not a lot of room for error in it. So, like you said, I didn't think Kyle didn't play great, but he also wasn't the reason for a lot of their issues. He threw a couple balls that probably should have been caught. And we've referenced it a lot.
And he had a couple bad ones. I mean, the interception even, I think, is a play that you can live with. It's 4th down.
100%.
You have to throw the ball somewhere or you get sacked. So now maybe he could have waited a half a beat longer, and I said it on the Monday rewatch show with Bill. Like, if he waits a half a beat longer, he's got Royer maybe for a big play or a touchdown. But it's a guy making his first start. Again.
It's 4th down.
I think Ryan, especially when they're never live in camp, and Justin can speak to this more, Ryan, I think, was pushing on them a lot to get the ball out. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Let's get it out. Don't think you can just stand back here because this is fairy tale land where you
that's definitely what happened on that 4th down. It was like, oh, crap. My receiver fell down. What do I have? Oh, there's a guy coming at me. Oops.
1,001.
Get the ball. Like I'm counting in my head.
And it may well be the case for that. CBS made a big deal of the Marvin breaking free in the secondary. Like, if that's the clock, if that's the way that they're coaching and talking about it. And again, I do not know. I'm not in that room.
And I think part of it was due to the fact that the offensive line was not great in camp. So you want to prepare those guys. Like, don't think we're going to get out here and have 4.5 seconds.
All of a sudden, we're not going to have a ton of time. You still have to get 1, 2, 3, get the ball out. Make your reads.
I thought they played I thought the offensive line, given that, played pretty well in the pass game for the most part.
Right, that was surprising. They were better in pass pro than
which is what I thought it was going to be.
Reverse.
Yeah, reverse.
Because Tom Allen, everybody talks about his blitz, and especially Matt goes over there. They know a lot of what they're doing, and where he's like, "Hey, they're going to light you up. You can't. There's not 2 or 3 pats on this ball. It's pat and go, 3-step. Let's get it out."
Yeah, I mean, in a quarterback competition, like the day I was there, 80% checkdowns, but they did it quickly and they didn't hang on to the ball. Like they were just working on getting that ball out quick, and they've been doing that all camp. So, I mean, to me, like the one with Marv and he hit Julian underneath, right?
Yep.
That was probably his first read, right? And in your first start, you're not going to be like, I know that was my read, but I had Marvin going down.
The second one,
I had Marvin going down the seam. You know, if something bad happens, it's not going to look good as far as your quarterback competition goes. So, you know, you get yourself into those. All right, I got my 1, 2, 3, boom. I'm taking the open receiver. We're going to move the ball.
I think the biggest thing for the quarterback play, and the reason that Kyle McCord was named the starter, was because of consistency. Yeah. And even in a game like this, you saw where he suffered through the bout of inconsistency. He goes down the field. He makes a beautiful throw to Cade Stover. He makes a great throw to Julian Fleming. Then he comes back in the next play and throws the ball to Marvin Harrison on a little out at the goal line. That was a terrible throw that should have been picked off and probably gone 100 yards the other way if the guy would have caught the ball. But, like, you just have to not do that. Like, you can't have that happen. You have this momentum, and then you try to put this little touch on it. But then you see the little wheel route to Mayan, which is a beautiful throw.
4th and 9. That's a
ballsy call right there. That's an incredible pass in that situation. So, like, there are good things, but there are bad things, and that's what you expect.
So, it's Youngstown State on Saturday. It's name the score game. What do you need to see in a game like that from Ohio State?
So I'd like to watch them be a little more aggressive on offense. Watch the quarterbacks take some shots. Know you're going to have some more time. Mm-hmm. The offensive line get to the guys they're supposed to block, which, like, it doesn't matter whether it's Indiana, Youngstown State, or Alabama.
You don't block people.
If you don't block people, you're in trouble. Watching them play, like 2016 Clemson, I was more worried because you were trying to block them and could not. Yeah. That was a larger concern.
Big difference.
Yeah. 2007 Florida.
You were right where you needed to be. You just could not do it.
It's like if Kyle's trying to throw it to Marvin down the field and it's like 10 yards short and inside. Like, okay, well, that's a physical problem I don't know if we can fix.
Exactly.
We can get through some of these other things. So you want to watch them take some of those shots. You want to watch them get to where they need to go. And I want to go watch this defense be dominant and then get some of the younger guys in, which you saw on the D-line, but get some of the linebackers, continue to work in some of that secondary, and watch those guys come in and not see a tangible drop-off. That, to me, is really what I would like to watch.
Yeah, I would like to see the offensive line clean things up, and I think that just creates a whole lot for us to do on Saturday as far as, play action, pushing the ball downfield. If you feel like you're going to be able to get that 3rd and 3, a second down, you might take a shot to try and, open up the game or something like that. So, I mean, if they can clean that up, I think that helps the run game. It helps the pass game. And I think Kyle, with his second start against Youngstown State, not a Big Ten school, I think he'll be more comfortable out there. I think he's going to have a great day. And then I don't know how they switch in Devin Brown and whatever, how that works, but I think Ryan basically named his starter last Saturday, in my opinion.
I want to see depth played, and I want to see the planet of Alderaan being blown up. As I talked about with Bill on Monday's show, when you have the Death Star, sometimes you need to just blow up a planet to show people what you're capable of.
Fully operational Death Star.
And maybe you want to, I understand the argument people have out there, like, wait until Notre Dame, try to hide stuff. Notre Dame knows Ohio State has Marvin Harrison and Emeka Egbuka on your team.
I don't know. They might not after the last game.
Okay, so, like, they exist.
They're hidden.
Just go out there and blow them up.
If we don't throw them the ball, maybe Notre Dame won't know we have them.
So I want to see a 56-0 halftime score or something crazy. I don't want to see this, like, well, let's just
ruthless.
Michigan State.
I want
over there?
ruthless.
Emperor Palpatine over here.
That is what I want. I want them to pull Princess Leia aside and say, you see your little home planet over there? Guess what?
It's Youngstown State, dude.
Why do you hate Princess Leia?
Why do you want to do this to Youngstown?
Because she was from Alderaan. It was her planet, and she was a.
Do you have something against her? Why do you want to blow her
That's
planet
what they do.
up?
That's what they do in the movie.
She was a part of the Rebel Alliance, and it's a traitor.
Berm's the only pro.
Yeah, fair enough. I don't know what any of that means.
GB is back this season. Big government Berm, blowing stuff up.
I want no holds barred. Go out there and wipe them off the map.
What did Youngstown State do to you?
They are in the way.
They're coming down the tracks.
They are in the way.
They're in our way.
And I think that this is a
team. But they're not hostile to the Empire. They're supportive.
This is a team that needs to see what they can put together and do it.
Could it just be like 42-0 at halftime? No. That's pretty good.
I think that'd be pretty good. I'd take 42-0.
I'd take 42-7. This needs to be an evisceration.
Even getting 8 drives with these new clock rules.
Oh, I know. That seems a little strange.
You don't need drives. You need 1 or 2 plays. You're playing Youngstown State. You don't need 17-play drives, okay? You have more talent at every position than they do. You, on your third guy on the depth chart is better than every player on their team. So go out there and put a boot on their neck and end it quickly.
Jeez. Curb stomp?
In the world
Curb
is
stomping
going
people
on
this
over here?
week.
Just don't play around with people. Like you're better than this. And that's a simple watch Washington this weekend. Boise State's a pretty good program. They are a well-coached team. You just don't need to be cute. Just go out there and show people we are better than you and do it.
I appreciate that. I was hoping to save more of that for Western Kentucky.
I want it all the time. It's
Here's
a 4-game season.
Here's Berm
okay?
on one hand saying, you know what, not everything has to be picked apart. And let's take it easy.
I said not everything's going to be perfect. I never said take
Kill
it
them
easy.
all. Let the
I'm saying,
paramedics sort them out.
And now you're demanding
if you're
perfection.
not going out there and trying to throw haymakers, why are you going out there?
Floyd Mayweather made a lot of money not throwing haymakers.
You play good defense and you win games.
Exactly.
This is a 4-game.
Punt is the most important play in football.
This is a 4-game regular season. Use these weeks to just make sure you're getting everything
Run the ball.
ready.
Notre Dame,
Play great
Penn
defense.
State.
Wisconsin and Michigan.
Win special teams.
I mean, let's not
Like
forget,
Opportunistic offense.
Texas played Rice. They looked rough in the first half. It was, 16-3 or
I mean,
something?
Georgia
like
was up 7-0 at half against some direction of a Southern State
I
school.
mean, Wisconsin
university.
was struggling against Buffalo early on. I mean, they're again, I say struggling. The first half was like a real football game.
I do not expect perfection. I expect perfect
Evisceration.
I expect perfect effort.
Castration.
And I
You want to
expect
blow up a world.
and I expect coaches to be aggressive.
like a circumcision.
These poor Penguins, man.
I expect aggression.
Dice them up.
Aggression. Aggression.
So you'd like a penguin fillet on Saturday is what you're telling
You're
me.
trying to make Jim
While
Tressel
they're-
cry. Is that what
while
you're
they're
trying to
alive.
do?
Yeah, Penguins.
While they're alive. He wants to cut it out while they're alive.
If that's what you got to do, it's what you got to
Penguins.
do.
Eat it in front of them.
Just bleeding out in the horseshoe.
I just don't understand you're playing football. It's a violent game.
I get
You
that.
go out there and you be aggressive, and you don't let a game become scary in the third quarter.
Hey,
when
it's not going to be Scary Terry over here, okay?
It's Youngstown State.
I know that.
But I think if you score
But
6
that mentality is what
touchdowns-
happened on Saturday.
I don't
sounds
know.
like
they looked pretty good last
It
week.
sounds like you're asking for false confidence, false bravado.
I'm asking.
This happened to an
Yeah,
FCS team.
We got a bully list team that
I'm
came
asking
into our
for
town.
a coaching staff that says we are going to put our players in a position to white people out instead of giving this weird deference to programs that don't deserve it.
I think Ryan likes Tom Allen.
You don't think Indiana played well at all in that game?
Yeah, they played good defense.
They also pulled out a triple option in the spread that we had never seen.
Ohio State.
And it wasn't like they gave up.
They played good
touchdown.
defense. They played good defense. Ohio State played good defense. Indiana played good defense. Indiana has NFL dudes on their defense. Like that's what you expect to play in the Big Ten. You're not seeing that this weekend, right? So just go out there and blow their doors off.
100-0, Berms.
100 and
Gosh, take the bazooka.
I want 77-0 this weekend.
There's no reason. There's no reason for them to score a touchdown
All
in
right,
this game.
77-3 is my score prediction for the week.
Jay-Z?
Why stop there?
I mean, 1,000
84.
to nothing.
That used to be my show.
Kill 'em
on the
all.
show. Now Berm's like, nah, watch this,
You have
fam.
the 80. I mean,
77-3.
It was it Washington scored? Was it
Oregon scored 82
82.
against Portland State, which is the equivalent of Youngstown State.
I'm going to say
Are they?
48 to 7.
Number 25, Youngstown State.
I'm going to go. I will say 56-3.
Yeah, I think that's right.
I mean, and it can be
range.
42-0 at halftime, and then you can throttle it down.
And you got to throttle up.
Bill's begging for more after coming up 0
Hey,
for 1 on his spread prediction.
Bill's
for the year.
listen, we can talk all we want about Mr. Aller, Drew Aller, but I mean, it was 14-7 against a West Virginia team that I would say is comparable to Indiana.
Yeah.
Hey, James Franklin.
And that was
least
at home.
Going to throw for a garbage touchdown.
I don't
in the
think
last
there
minute
is
to-
a spread at this point on this Ohio State Youngstown State game, right?
I
You could
don't.
probably find one. I mean, if you have to go to the dark web where Austin
Well,
was.
they're out there, I'm sure.
It's the truth is out there.
If
All
you
right.
go to Youngstown, you could probably find a place.
You can get on campus and find somebody to
There's no
take
doubt.
that
Make
out.
sure that you don't lose your bet. If you
Uncle
do that.
Carmine is ready to give
All
you a
right.
number.
I can get you in touch with a guy.
It is fantastic to be back in Roosters in the Horseshoe Lounge and talking about an Ohio State game. And there's another one this weekend on Saturday in the Horseshoe. Ohio State, Youngstown State. We'll be back on our normal day of Monday next week.
Sure. I mean, I thought we've done so many Tuesdays
we're back.
in a row.
We're out of the Tuesday. We'll be preparing for Appetizer Tuesday on a Monday next week. Back on the normal schedule. Appreciate your patience getting us to this point. Hope you have a great week and enjoy the game on Saturday. Thanks to Nicole Cox for having us. Thanks to JZ, Bob, Berm. I'm Austin. Come hang out at Roosters. It's a fun, casual joint. We'll see you here next week.